Good morning and welcome. And a special welcome to all of the Scouts and Scout-adjacent people with us this morning. What a gift it is to celebrate Scout Sunday today. This has been a hard few weeks, marked by chaos and confusion and cruelty from the federal government. And I can't tell you how this will play out or what is ahead exactly, but there are some things, some practices that we do here that I know will serve us well with what's ahead. The practices of connecting across difference, the practices of justice, the practices of generosity, the practices of listening and caring and showing up, the practices of loving the parts of the world that are within our grasp, within our reach, and the practices of knowing that we are imperfect and we will make mistakes, but doing it anyway. So come, let us gather. Come, let us celebrate new connections. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. My name is Laura. I am here as a member of the Sunday Services Committee and a member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to People's Church. You made it through the snow. We're very glad that you are here. Our welcome words this morning are by Sherry Woodbury. Welcome, all who seek renewal in a weary world. Welcome, all who come with love and energy to share. Welcome, those who worry for the future. Welcome each one who is grateful for today. Know that in this place you are not alone. In community, we share our strength with one another. We keep the flame of love burning bright. In this place, responsibility is shared. Tradition holds us. Ancestors shine a light from the past. And the young lift their bright faces and beckon us onward. Take each other's hands. We can go on together.
And as we begin, a few announcements. This is Specialty Class Sunday for our kindergarten through 6th graders. They'll gather in room 9, the Buddha room, right back there when we sing you out, and you will get to do activities like parkour, recycled materials crafts, and learning about the Lunar New Year. We also are starting a new pickup procedure for our younger kids, so they will be in class until 12:10, and then moved to the kids' room if you have not yet fetched your children, where they will be until 12:30. So that will allow our teachers and other leaders to actually get to socialize and not just look after your children until they're found. We have several activities after church today. The sermon discussion group is at 12:15 in the Buddha room, room 9. We have our orientation for the kindergarten and 1st grade Our Whole Lives class. This is our comprehensive sexuality education class, one of the gems of what we do here for our children. That will begin at 12:30 in room 19. We also have our Inquirers class, so that's our class for newcomers, and that will be in room L1, which is downstairs near the front door, also starting at 12:30. We've had a change of topic due to illness, so we'll be focusing on the history and governance of our congregation today. And if you're staying for either the Our Whole Lives orientation or the Inquirers class, we will be feeding you lunch here in this room. So when the service is over, I invite anybody who is able to help stack all the chairs on this portion against the wall so people can bring in tables, and then we can reset some chairs for a large lunch. Okay, that's just the today part. There's more. We have a chance to make our values real in the world. So the executive order that cut refugee resettlement programs also cut off funding for some of the most newly arrived refugees in our community. So there are 7 refugee families who have lost all federal financial support and most of their casework support in our town. That's 41 people, some of them who've been here for 2 weeks. So People's Church is partnering with other organizations in town to try to fill this gap and support these families. So if you are able to donate money, please send it to the church, either online or via check, and indicate refugee support. And if you have the capacity to support these families with your time, please let me know and I will connect you to the right people. A large group of folks, including the Kalamazoo Refugee Resource Collaborative, other congregations, are working to fill this gap. And know that as the weeks unfold, there'll be more ways for us all to take action in support of our values. But this is the one that is ready right now to support these 7 families who our government has abandoned. A few other events. Next Sunday is the beginning of our church auction. So if you have a skill or event to donate, please go to the table in the foyer or fill out our online form. Popular items in the past have included parties and gatherings, skilled and unskilled labor, jewelry, and food. So be creative and please be generous. Next Sunday is also our first room for rest before the service, so please come to church a bit early for tea and stillness in room 9, beginning at 10 a.m. Childcare is provided. And final announcement, next Sunday we will have a guest in this pulpit. The Reverend Dr. Liz Candido will be preaching to us. She is the chaplain at Kalamazoo College, and she'll be preaching about the work of pluralism, how to build community across religious difference, which feels like a really important message for this moment. So please attend in person or online or watch on YouTube. And now we get to sing.
Please rise in body or spirit to sing along. I'd like to invite Georgina up to light the chalice, please. There she is. Hey. Let's see. When strangers meet, endless possibilities emerge. New experiences, new ways of understanding, new ways of taking action. When strangers meet, each pays special attention to the other. Each is called to serve something larger than the self. Today, this morning, let's light the chalice for openness, for willingness to grow, for rich curiosity, and for common purpose.
In addition to the chalice lit here at People's Church, we have about 30 people with us on Zoom this morning. So we have chalices lit in southern Alabama. We have chalices in the Millwood neighborhood, Battle Creek, Mattawan, Borges Hospital, Millwood, Bronson, South Haven Hospital ER, and the Vine. A reading, a piece of the poem What They Did Yesterday Afternoon by Warsan Shire, who is a Somali British poet. I've been praying, and these are what my prayers look like. Dear God, I come from 2 countries. One is thirsty, the other is on fire. Both need water. And later that night, I held an atlas in my lap, ran my fingers across the whole world and whispered, "Where does it hurt?" It answered, "Everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere." We know that our world, our beautiful blue boat home, is both brutal and beautiful. It fills our hearts and breaks them in equal measure. So now we're going to try a new ritual for recognizing how we are connected in joy and in woe across the world. So if you feel so moved, when you feel so moved, I invite you to come forward and place a heart sticker on the part of the world where you are sending your love today. If you're on Zoom, please type a location in the chat box and I will do my best. And I invite you to remember that this is not a geography test, and there are no geography police. So if you are aiming for Ukraine and get Uruguay, that's fine. We are not casting magical spells here, but we are expressing our love and our heartbreak, okay? So come forward as you feel so moved. So we send our love and our care across continents, knowing that we are all connected on this beautiful blue boat home. And now we send our children off to learn and grow.
Go forth in peace in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way, and may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go. Go forth in peace in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way, and may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go.
One of my mentors in ministry liked to remind me that the way you make your values real in this world is by organizing people and by organizing money. And that is part of this project of this church, in that we do not sell tickets, we do not charge admission, but we expect people to be generous. And we know that most of you send your giving to the church electronically or through your checks that arrive in the mail. And yet we still know that it is important to publicly pass the baskets and say, this is our church and we have made it what it is. So this is the moment where I thank you for the ways you have been generous in the past, and tell you that in the months and years ahead, we will be asked to be generous in new and bold ways if we want our values to be real in this world. The offering will now be received.
Morally, I was led to nonviolence because I felt that it was the best moral way to deal with the problem. We were seeking to establish a just society, and it was my feeling then, and it is my feeling now, that violence is certainly much more socially destructive, and it creates many more social problems than it solves. So I was led to nonviolence for deep moral reasons. And I turned to it because I felt that it was the morally excellent way to deal with the problem of racial injustice in our country.
There is no freedom, the wise men said, let justice roll down when the poor cry out for shelter and bread. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary, walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Hatred will never drive out hate. Let love roll down, roll down. Remember, our hearts can make us great. Let love roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary, walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. And let your love roll down like a mighty stream. When brutality threatens our daughters and sons, let peace roll down, roll down. May our voices rise up louder than the guns. Let peace roll down like don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. And let peace roll down like a mighty stream. Step by step, one by one, let justice roll down, roll down. They can kill the prophet, but the dream lives on. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream.
I turned to it because I felt that it was the morally excellent way to deal with the problem of racial injustice in our country.
Please join me in giving thanks. From the countless gifts we each have been given, gifts of life and love and sustenance, we bring these small portions to share in the works of love, which none of us can accomplish alone.
People's Church is a community that supports one another in good times and hard times. One of the ways that we do this is we take time when we have gathered to lift up the joys and sorrows and other milestones of our lives. So if you have something you want to share with our community today, if you're with us on Zoom, I invite you to type it into our chat box. If you're here in person, I invite you to come forward, place a stone in our bowl of water, and if you choose to share what is in your heart and share your name with us.
My name is Brian Lewis. Am I hearing? Yes, my name is Brian Lewis, and I have a joy and a concern. And I thought I was going to be helping in RE, but it turned out I'm not, so that's why I'm up here. So here's a joy and a concern. My joy is my niece is getting married, holiday, Valentine's, President's weekend, and I'm super excited about that. And I booked my tickets and everything. Friday, it suddenly dawned on me that I've been helping plan the best party we're going to have for Reverend Rachel, Let It Be a Dance, celebrating her 10 years. I have to miss the party, so that's my con.
Hello, I'm Nick Wilson, and my sorrow is that yesterday marked 7 years since my mother's passing.
And we have several from our Zoom congregation today. Mary Montgomery Clifford shares energy and prayers, please, for my neighbor, John Rhodes, who's experiencing chest pains. I am with him at the Bronson ER in South Haven. Elizabeth Cook shares in honor of my son, Wyatt Cook. And the clans share positive thoughts for successful surgery for Jeffrey's brain tumor removal. I now place a few more stones for all of the joy and sorrow we're holding quietly in our hearts today, the joy and sorrow in our wider community and our wider world. Sources of reason and radiance, sources of courage and compassion, keep watch with those who work or watch or weep this day. May the suffering be soothed. May the weary find rest. May the sick be tended. May the dying and those who love them find peace, and may the joyous be shielded. And may all of us know we are wrapped in a love that surrounds us always, a web that connects us to all that exists. Beatitudes for justice builders. Blessed are you who can question your own assumptions and listen with an open mind. You will receive new insights beyond your imagining. Blessed are you who suffer the attacks of others to stand up for what is right. You will not be alone, for your courage will inspire others to rise. Blessed are you who build friendships as well as justice. Even when you lose an issue, you will have strengthened the foundation of your community. Blessed are you who take delight in people. You will not be bored in meetings. Blessed are you who agitate the placid waters of complacency. You will create waves in the inertia of privilege and will know the thrill of riding the surf of change. Blessed are you who lead with enthusiasm and confidence, resisting the temptation to shame the apathetic or self-absorbed. You will inspire curiosity and hope in others. Blessed are you who play as well as work. You will have more fun, build more energy, and will draw the powers of the impish to your cause. Blessed are you who ask for help in your role as leaders. You will find teachers at every turn, and your work will remain interesting and alive. Blessed are you who, when wrongfully attacked, find safe outlets for your righteous rage. Your mind will be clear, your decisions strategic, and your progress will not be derailed by the backlash of the fearful. Blessed are you who do not demonize your opponents. Your eyes and your hearts will be open. Blessed are you who sing and dance. You will find energy and joy to lift on your journey. Blessed are you who offer thanks and praise fivefold for every critique. Your children will want to visit you after they are grown. People will want to serve on your committees, and friends will be interested in your opinions. Blessed are you who study the rhythms of history. You will have knowledge with which to shape the future. Blessed are you who work in coalition rather than principled isolation. You will meet great people, learn things you didn't realize you needed to know, and have partners for the journey when you are in the lead or in need. Blessed are you who volunteer to be secretary and take good minutes. Your words will become history, and your efforts will move steadily forward rather than running absent-mindedly over thoroughly discussed ground. Blessed are you who discover, train, and encourage young leaders. You will see your work expand and grow beyond your own time and talent. Blessed are you who can change your mind. You are still alive. Blessed are you who will not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. You will see progress in your lifetime. Blessed are you with an active spiritual life. You will find perspective and comfort in times of loss and betrayal, and will rise without cynicism to meet the challenges of a new day. Blessed are you who live from a place of gratitude, for you will know the meaning of life.
For our next two songs, I invite you to stretch upward to be comfortable when singing together.
Let's try that again. One more time.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
The first Sunday in February every year is Scout Commemoration Sunday. And we have some Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, and pretty soon this week it'll be called Scouting America. I believe that change will happen, so it's my pleasure to be involved in that. I'm Gordon Bolar, and I am Charter Organization Representative for our church to Troop 292. And I'm glad they're here. Yeah, go ahead, give them a hand. Last year, we, the board, decided that we would host this troop, and it's worked out very well. We're glad they're here. They meet here on Monday night. They've done some projects around the church already and will be involved in some projects around the grounds this spring. They helped set up for our holiday bazaar last November. And so we'll see them doing other things, I'm sure. I think Reverend Rachel may address this, but a few years ago, the values of Scouting America, I'm going to go ahead and call them that, became much more congruent with the values that we have in this church in terms of diversity, in terms of inclusion, certainly in terms too of respect for the environment and the celebration that we're connected to the web of all living things. I've seen them do this. I've seen them practice this. I've seen them talk about it at campouts, how they're going to sort their garbage from, what might be recyclable. So they have these kinds of concerns top of mind and in their meetings. So I'm pleased to this morning introduce, I should also tell you that I am an Eagle Scout, and Alan Webb back there is an Eagle Scout. Any other Scouts not in uniform today, or Eagles or not, please raise your hand. Girl Scout, Boy Scout, anything.
Campfire kid.
Campfire kid right here, yeah. Thank you. So, we're connected in so many ways to Scouts and Scouting, and that's part of what we're commemorating, part of what we're celebrating. So I'd like to tell you I'd like to introduce somebody who's going to tell you a little bit more about the troop, and that's the person who's been my contact, or one of those, with Troop 292, Scoutmaster Jason Frink.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jason Frink. I am the Scoutmaster of Troop 292 and the committee chair of Crew 292. And I want to start by saying thank you. Well, I didn't think I was going to get choked up, but woo. It's been a process for us. We have been a troop for almost 60 years, and for most of those years, we were chartered by Grace Harbor Church, who was a wonderful home to us for a long time. As their church population shrank, they had to move to a smaller location and weren't able to host us anymore. We're still very close with them and grateful for all the years that they have given to us. So we found ourselves homeless for a while, and thankfully the church that moved into their old building graciously said, you can stay here until you find a new home. And that was very thoughtful, and it also sent us a message that we needed to find what that new home was going to be. And so we started looking at different organizations and connected with People's Church, and instantly it felt like this is where we're supposed to be. Our values as a troop, our values as an organization, and especially our values as a troop, really align with People's Church. We, Troop 292 was we believe, the first troop in Southwest Michigan to have an openly gay senior patrol leader. That's our youth leader of all the organization. Now, that's certainly not to say the first gay leader of our organization, but the first openly gay leader of our troop. And our diversity has just been important to us for as long as I've been with the troop, which has been a good long time. That we celebrate the diversity of all kinds. Our troop, several years ago, Kate, our committee chair, is sitting down in the front. As part of one of her leadership growth goals for Wood Badge, she gave a talk, she organized a talk to provide training for other youth organizations in the area to how to work best with neurodivergent scouts and other youth. And it's been a pride point for us that we are a very welcoming home to scouts with neurodivergency and other challenges and other exceptional abilities. We are what you think of with a troop. We go camping, we tie knots, we wear the merit badges, and as we're doing that, we're doing that in such a way that we are being thoughtful of how we fit into the bigger world and how we fit with one another, and we take the oath of the law seriously. It is something that's not just words that we say. It is something that we really implore our scouts to take to heart. So we thank you. I got to tell you, this has been such as the leader of the organization, to have a place where all of my scouts, and most of whom, because it's Scout Sunday, most scouts go to their own churches in uniform on that. That's why we don't have a bigger representation here. If you were here on the Bazaar night, you saw that we were here in mass. And I do think that's part of what made that other church a little uncomfortable, was maybe not just some of our values and things, but just a room full of 11 to 17-year-olds is a lot of energy. So we're very grateful to have a home here. I think when I walked in and saw some of the art and things here, I said, this feels like our place. I think when our scouts walked in and saw the Gaga pit and the nature trails out back, they're like, oh yeah, this is where we're supposed to be. So all signs, I think, really brought us together. So again, we love to be involved. As soon as the weather gets nicer, I know there's some projects with rain garden drainage and some of the trail work and things like that. We love to serve, and cheerful service is part of who we are. And if you've ever been around us when we're serving, we are cheerful. To a fault sometimes. But thank you very much, and please reach out to me, scoutmaster@bsatroop292.org, if you ever have questions or if you ever have thoughts. We love to hear you, or stop in on Monday night and say hi. We're here, so thank you. Oh, and we are working on getting the name changed on the trailer out front, so that will happen soon. So thank you very much.
All right, I invite you to find your singing posture so we can sing once again together. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet. Last time. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Friends, we can make such sweet harmony. But harmony is not effortless. We have to practice our instruments or develop our voices, do our own work, and then show up ready to collaborate and harmonize. So for this Scout Sunday, and the long road to this partnership is a story of the work that it takes to make such sweet harmony. In the 1990s, the Unitarian Universalist Association, our sort of denominational associational body here at People's Church, and the Boy Scouts of America, as it was called back then, had a fight. And for clarification's sake, it's important to know that the Girl Scouts is a totally separate organization, separate from Scouting America. And the Girl Scouts are not part of the story we're telling today, and they are the ones who have the cookies, unfortunately. I wish you all came with such delicious treats, but we'll take you anyway, even without the cookies. So this fight between the Boy Scouts and the Unitarian Universalist Association was a fight about sexuality and a fight about God, two of the most popular things to fight about, I think. So I imagine people sitting around a table, voices raised, names called, someone storming off. Maybe you've been at a table like that. Of course, when it is large organizations that fight, the fight takes place not at a table, but in a series of open letters and press releases and public statements. The fight decades ago was about whether or not gay youth could participate as scouts, and if gay and lesbian adults could be scout leaders. The fight was about whether atheists could participate in scouts, as the Boy Scouts have duty to God as part of their oath, which can make it hard for people who don't believe in God to participate with integrity. And because of the structure of the Boy Scouts, in which troops have community organizations as their charter organization, the Scouts could discriminate on these bases legally. At least that's what the Supreme Court said. Religious organizations are allowed to discriminate in ways that other organizations can't. That's how the law works in our country. And to an extent, this makes sense, right? The next time People's Church is looking for a minister, you should be able to say, this job is only for Unitarian Universalists, because otherwise, I don't even know how that would work. But that law is broader than such things, so religious organizations can discriminate in who can be volunteers and all sorts of different roles and ways of participating. And at least in the most recent statistics I could find, LDS Mormons, United Methodists, and Catholic congregations are the leading charter organizations of Boy Scout troops. And those organizations have different views about inclusion and who can be a good leader than we do. That might have changed. Fact check me. I couldn't find very good recent data. I'm not going to go through the details of this fight, but just know that it was brutal. The Unitarian Universalist Association and the Boy Scouts cut off any sort of formal communication. The UUA offered resources for congregations to start their own more inclusive scouting organizations. The Boy Scouts disallowed the Unitarian Universalist Religion and Life Award, which is one of the merit badges Scouts could work towards then, to be displayed on uniforms, at least officially. And we weren't the only religious organization to have a fight with the Boy Scouts around this time, around these issues. There's also a breach of relationship between the Scouts and the Union for Reform Judaism, that's our siblings at Temple B'nai Israel, and the United Church of Christ. So that's First Congregational Church, Phoenix Community Church, Portage United Church of Christ. And of course, in the midst of this fight, plenty of Unitarian Universalist children, youth, and adults participated in Boy Scouts. The UUA doesn't ban individual participation in activities. That's not how we govern ourselves. And for those UU Scouts, it was uneasy sometimes, but people, including many people's people, made it work, seeing the value of scouting alongside the value of our faith. There were youth and adults hurt by the exclusive practices, and they found community elsewhere. And there were UUs, including some in this room, who organized and protested to try to make the Scouts more inclusive. And I honestly didn't pay much attention to all of this. I grew up as a campfire kid. That was my scouting-ish identity, loyal to a different youth development organization that does not even really exist in this part of the world, but is great. But I just sort of had this vague, unfavorable sense of the Boy Scouts. And then about a year ago, I got an email. One of the folks at the Unitarian Universalist Community Church of Southwest Michigan, our sibling UUs in Portage, reached out to ask if we might want to become the charter organization of a scout troop. She said the troop and People's Church shared values, and my first reaction was a little skeptical, but I was also curious. I'd heard about the controversies, but I hadn't heard about how the Boy Scout organization had shifted, about how people organized within scouting to make it more inclusive, about how they had accepted gay scouts and gay and lesbian scout leaders, about how they had made more room for atheists and others who don't practice Christianity, about how the Boy Scouts had changed their name and started accepting girls into their programs, and about how the UUA and the Scouts had even formally reconciled in 2016. There was a big public handshake and everything. So we met to talk this through, a few of us from the church, and a few from the Scouts, around a table here at church. gathering with strangers for openness, for willingness to grow, for rich curiosity, and for common purpose. We talked about what partnership might look like, the use of our building and grounds on Monday nights, parking their trailer in our parking lot. We talked about expectations for inclusion and non-discrimination if we were going to be their chartering organization. I was kind of gearing up for a fight, I have to say. We've seen that pride flag on our wall. We want you to welcome scouts and leaders of all sexualities and all genders, I said. And they were already doing that, which is great. I'm glad we didn't have to fight about it. Duty to God and the Scout Oath was next on our list, and we got a little creative in our definition for God, as we do here at People's Church. A piece of the spiritual maturity that I wish for our youth here and all of our adults here is the wisdom that we ourselves as individuals are not the center of the universe. The world does not revolve around us. We are bound in networks and webs of care and obligation and interdependence to all that exists. What each of us knows as the center of it all, if there even is a center, is honestly less important to me than realizing that it is not you yourself as an individual. So around that table, we defined that recognition, that wisdom, as God, knowing that you're not the center of the universe. So I doubt the good people at Merriam-Webster or the Oxford English Dictionary would agree with us, but I'm okay with that. This very expansive definition of God allows all sorts of religious and non-religious, spiritual, values-driven people to participate and to practice a duty to God as they understand it, and all of us to partner for the spiritual growth of the Scouts and all of us. It allows us to stay at the table and make our sweet harmony. So 20 years ago, this partnership between a UU congregation and the Scouts would have been close to impossible, probably. But change and growth can happen, which is amazing. With time, the Scouts did really good and important internal work, and we all came to the table together. We became unlikely allies, imperfect collaborators in this work together. And this feels like a really powerful teaching story for this moment. So over the past few weeks, I've been attending a lot of strategizing meetings in our community, in the basement of El Concilio, in the basement of Trinity Lutheran Church, occasionally not in basements, but rarely. There's something about being in a basement, I think, that is just how you have to do this work. Sometimes on Signal, which is an encrypted messaging app. We've been talking about how we keep each other safe here, how those of us with energy and some capacity and some capital, whether that's financial, institutional, and otherwise, can best care for our neighbors and our beloveds, our undocumented beloveds, our refugee beloveds, trans and non-binary beloveds, and so many others who feel more at risk in this moment. Some of you have been in these meetings with me. Some of you have been in other meetings and group chats and are practicing deep care for yourselves and your community. There will be opportunities for action coming soon. I can't tell you about them yet, but no, there's more coming. But the part of these meetings that I want to highlight now is that these groups are also made up of unlikely allies and imperfect collaborators. In these basements, at these tables, in these chats, we show up to do what we can to temper the cruelty of this moment. And to do that, we set some things aside. I do not ask the other religious leaders about their teachings on issues that are beyond what we're focused on. I know that we disagree on some things. I do not ask where others were the last time our community was organizing around these issues. And thankfully, they do not ask me the same question because I have not always been there. We have not always been there. I don't ask people if they voted or how, because we are here now, in this moment, to meet this moment before us, to do the work of love in the world. Probably imperfectly, but together. And together, so much is possible. As I read earlier, blessed are you who work in coalition rather than in principled isolation. You will meet great people, learn things you didn't realize you needed to know, and have partners for the journey when you are in the lead or in need. I don't know what's coming, but I know the practices that have led us into this partnership with the Scouts we are marking today will continue to serve us. Practices like being clear about our values, taking action, speaking up, setting limits to keep our people safe, rejoicing when other people and organizations have done their internal work to be more just, more inclusive, and more loving. It is a great thing to have other people join us at our table. Practices like navigating inflexible structures in creative ways. Practices like meeting the imperfection of ourselves and our allies with patience and with joy while moving forward together. I told someone in our church earlier this week that it is awful that we are being asked to do all of this right now, that so much of the functioning of our federal government now seems to be dependent on people in basements making strategies together. It's not fair. It is not right. We will do our best. It will be imperfect, and some things will fall through the cracks because we cannot actually recreate a whole federal infrastructure by meeting in a church basement. But what we are able to do, what we are able to do together, will matter. And that is something. Maybe not enough, but it is something, and it's what I can say honestly today. So may we do what we can. May we be patient with ourselves and each other and put these practices that we have cultivated here, that we have tried to practice here, and take them out into the world. May it be so. May we make it so. And amen.
Thank you, Rachel. All right, I invite you one last time to rise in body or spirit to sing our closing song together. At the
So earlier, when we were doing our ritual with the globe and people knocked it off and it fell on the floor, I gasped, that's not a metaphor. But maybe it is a little bit. That when things get off kilter, they lose their balance, they tumble down, we have the power to pick them up. And we can do what we can to try to make things right. And, next time we'll get a bigger table, too. So let us go in peace and go in love.